Well, talk about good for your soul is this music you've been putting out. It's been such a special year for you with so much good stuff. And just talk about, it's been a strange year for everybody, but how nice to have the success you've had the last few months and the reaction people are giving to your music. It must feel really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it feels really cool. And it also feels sort of strange because, processing good things in the middle of maybe the toughest year in 100 years,
Yeah.
But I'm endlessly grateful. Yeah, gratitude is like the perfect word for my constant state of being. Yeah.
Yeah. How much do you pay attention to the numbers and the people, the streams, all that kind of stuff? Because I was looking at some of this, and it's kind of, obviously great that so many people are listening and paying attention. And do those things, do you pay attention? How great is that on a certain level? It must feel really good to see that stuff.
Yeah, it's really good. I have a strange I think every artist has a strange relationship with, following the analytics or the stats and stuff. Because it can either be really encouraging or your best day can actually be discouraging because you expected something else or so I'm kind of me and my relationship with what my manager calls hashtag data. I'm still learning. But for the most part, I'll look and I'll be like, wow. I'm usually surprised, but grateful. Yeah.
Talk about moral of the story and kind of like how that kind of took off for you and just how great it was for that project and the reaction you got for that one just to start.
Yeah. Well, moral of the story was written, well over 2 years ago now. Just maybe months after I had filed for divorce, not even. And it was just a song I had to write. It was by no means was walked into the session and was like, let's write a hit song today. I was just like, I've been going through this it was definitely the hardest time of my life. And it's funny now because everything's so good. And this song that's totally changed my life, was birthed out of that horrible time. So sometimes when I look back on it, I'm like, oh, maybe it wasn't so bad. And then I'll really think about it and go, ooh, that was when I wrote Moral of the Story. I had never been more miserable, So I'm just, yeah. We wrote the song and we were like, this feels so special. It doesn't feel like a pop radio hit, like it's got this like cool piano intro and everything that has happened to that song has just been a continual surprise because no way, if any record of mine was going to be played on radio for the first time, I wouldn't have thought it would be, that song. Yeah.
And when people react to something that's so personal to you, and obviously it's touching, thousands and thousands of others, what does that mean to you? How interesting a scenario is that for you, knowing that this thing that was, so close to your heart, and people are only being even probably part of the story, but they're getting a personal side of you, and it's obviously touching them.
I don't know. I just find it really, really cool, because I never write a song from the place like, let's make this the most relatable to the most amount of people, I just sort of like, it feels like it's my job as an artist to just sort of live my life and report back. And the fact that people have adopted such a personal record as their own, I mean, it's just it's an anomaly, and I think it's the coolest possible result. It's like magic.
Yeah. And now you have something new that is very exciting to release during all this. And I'm sure your fans are excited, and you're probably getting new fans by the day with this great song, Save Myself, and another personal song for you.
Yeah. Just keep racking them up. Not every artist is this way, but I'm a better writer when I write what I know. Someone I admire a lot, Billie Eilish, she writes from a bunch of different perspectives and pulled a bunch of other people's, you know, characters into her own world. And I feel like I'm such a experiential writer, and that it's got to come from what I know best. And Save Myself is just came out. It's literally a week ago, and it's already been insane. Talk about like being surprised by numbers and things like that. Trying not to pay too much attention to it, but definitely another personal record, and still putting some old stuff behind me, you know?
Yeah, well, no, good for you, good for you. And the reaction to that's like great, as you've been saying. And you mentioned, Billie, talk about your friendship and professional relationship with Finneas and that family, and my limited experience with them, and they've been such nice, talented people, and just so cool. And what's that been like for you in your career?
Oh, I mean, Finneas is just the sweetest, coolest human. Brian Wilson is my sort of musical idol, and I've said it from day one, and I don't say it lightly, that Finneas is our Brian Wilson, you know, of sort of 2020 or whenever he started. But I think he's insanely talented, and obviously what he's done with Billie has been absolutely incredible. I love her. We chat, but we're not super close like Finneas and I are. I'm supposed to get coffee with him actually tomorrow because it's his birthday today.
Hey, nice. Happy birthday, Finneas.
Yeah, happy birthday, Finn. But yeah, I mean, that is a relationship that will, I mean, outlast my life, you know, which I think is really cool. Just love him to pieces.
You mentioned Brian Wilson, and I hear that in your music, and you've been compared to Brian Wilson and Carole King and the greats. And I've had the joy of spending time with Brian Wilson and having some shoots with him and knowing his talents. And I've talked to, like, you know, rock people or older people that you kind of hear that influence. It's rare that someone, you know, relatively starting out and young and popish has the talent you have and that influence. It's a very special thing. Talk about where that came from in you, that love of that joy and ability to kind of inhabit that place.
Well, thanks, first off. It's like the best compliment you could give me. And it's funny too, because I don't know how many of my fans know who Brian Wilson is, you know? And I feel like it's like my duty as an artist to make sure they know who he is. I mean, I just think he worked outside the bounds of music, and he just pushed boundaries every day with his writing, and I just think the world of him. And Pet Sounds, that entire album was an album that sort of changed my life and the way I looked at music. You know, Paul McCartney was like, you haven't been properly musically educated until you've listened to Pet Sounds. I was like, okay, I better dig in. And I mean, it's my favorite album of all time. I mean, right next to Sgt. Pepper, which was written right after Pet Sounds because of Pet Sounds, you know? Thanks for saying that. They're definitely, you mentioned Carole King too. She's my favorite female artist of all time. And I think she also just has the most integrity, you know? Mm-hmm. Just like carries herself. Like, you would not want to piss off Carole King, you know?
Right.
She's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Well,
from what I've heard of your music and where you've started and where this could be going, and your love of that and your obvious talent and background, makes me very excited, and a lot of people are very excited about what could be next. How busy are you working on the great opus, the album with the full studio and all the musicians like Pet Sounds and all that? Is that something that's down the pike?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is such a tough thing because it's like, you know, Pet Sounds has already been written. Like, the revolution has already begun. So I'm just sort of you know, how do I take my bite out of the musical landscape? I hope I do a really good job. I can say that I'm really proud of what we're making. It does feel like we're making, me and my executive producer, Leroy Clampett, him and I know for a fact that what we're writing, I'm not hearing anywhere else currently.
Which is always a great thing.
Just in that, like, we're pulling from, you know, my favorite decade and like late 60s and 70s, and pulling from, you know, those old records and Elton John and Crosby, Stills and Nash, and like digging into that stuff, but with this new era of sound. And we have so many more toys to play with now. So yeah, it just feels really special. I don't know if I'm going to break any crazy boundaries or records or anything like that, but I will be very proud of it when it comes out.
Talk about your connection with fans now during this crazy time. I know you post things, you stay active online, how important that is to you and how you're keeping that connection alive without able to have the live performances right now.
I mean, I'm sort of learning as I'm going, for sure, because as the number grows higher, I'm more like cognizant of what I'm saying, you know, because like you can say anything you want when no one's listening and it won't matter. But when, you know, you have a bunch of new followers, everything I post something on Instagram and in like a minute it's on Twitter and Facebook and it starts spreading around. And so I'm definitely I want to be very aware of how I'm using it. And, you know, imagining if I was a kid watching me, you know, and how I would want to, what I would want to see and what I want to sort of look up to. And, I'm pretty active. I don't know if I'll always stay this active, but, right now it's super fun because it's brand new and, it's a really new, like, fun thing to navigate right now.
Yeah, and talk about your collaboration with Niall and what that was like, and the reaction to that was super as well, of course.
Niall James Horan, what a badass. He had heard the song, Moral of the Story, and we had gotten on a FaceTime, I think a couple months after. It took like this like rocket launch in February of 2020, sorry. And yeah, we got on FaceTime and chatted for a while and got on so well. And then it was like, oh yeah, you belong on this record. And he sent some vocals over and I was like, why are you even entertaining this idea, Niall Horan? You know, I was like, not that I'm not a confident lady, because I've probably got enough confidence to go around the room, but I mean, Niall Horan, he's a living legend, you know? So it was really cool getting to have him on the record, and then his fan base sort of adopting me, which has been a roller coaster. And that's kind of that.
Talk about the confidence, because I love that, because there's a natural confidence to people that have the talent and have the chops, that with just putting in the work and knowing you can do your thing. When did you know you had that?
Well, it's taken a while for me to sort of, really accept it. In college, I went to Berklee College of Music. Mm-hmm. It was like 2012 to 2015. And I had zero confidence, super insecure. I knew I wanted to be a songwriter, but I didn't think I was really good enough to sing my own songs. And I think it was just a mixture of insecurity and immaturity. And once I realized that all the people in my life that I feel the most sort of like comfortable with or peaceful around are the most know who they are, confident humans. And, you know, I look at someone like Carole King, for instance, like I wouldn't call her arrogant. I wouldn't call her, you know, whatever, this insane diva, but I would call her confident as hell. Like she knows who she is and she knows what she can do. And she's obviously proven herself, and that gives you an extra vote of confidence. But yeah, I was just like, at some point, I think in my early 20s, which I'm still in my 20s, so I'm learning, but early then it was like, I'm wasting so much time and energy being insecure and not accepting who I am and just leaning into it. So yeah, I guess that's kind of it. I just like who I am better, confident.
Thank you for watching. If you want more extra, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll never miss a video.